Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Reasonably Effective Podcast. I'm Jim Types, as always, joined by Uncommon Fossil.
Look, glad to be here. Looking forward to our conversation today.
Yeah, and I am too. Today we're talking about the new cards. When I say new cards, all the cards that we know so far from Deltarune slash Storm Emeralda. This expansion is the fourth main set of the year. We had Perfect Order, Chaos Rising, Pitch Black, and then we got Deltarune. This set Deltarune is the international expansion releasing November 6th, so it's a pretty long ways away.
Yep.
However, in Japan, it's releasing the expansion Storm Emeralda. It's releasing in was it the end of this month, right? End of July, I believe.
Yeah, I think it does that release when we got our new set. Or no, or
No, I think I said that to you, and I think that's wrong.
Okay.
Because the new set's coming very soon. Pitch Black for us, it's in, I guess, a few days. And then I believe Storm Emeralda is the end of the month, like the 31st, or the 31 days in this month. I don't even know. I should probably know that, but whatever.
Yeah, no, I think there's 31, and yeah, that sounds about right. And then we get for us, we get, before Deltarune comes out, we get the 30th anniversary set first, right? Because that releases the same time internationally as Japan.
Yeah, that's sometime in September. I think it's mid-September. And yeah, ultimately, that's interesting. It's kind of weird. I will say 30th Celebration is not looking super good. Deltarune's definitely, it has some interesting cards, though. I'd say Deltarune is okay. So far, we don't have that many reveals, but there's some interesting stuff.
Yeah, no, right. We'll know all of them soon. And these are all the cards we know are the cards that we know are in the Japanese set. There could, like, we're talking before, there could be some cut, and there are some like promo type cards that may get included. But these are the ones that are pretty safe. Includes, I think we have 15 cards we're talking about, which is not including the pre-evolutions.
Yeah. Also, I will say we're not including MC's Hype. MC's Hype is not new to this set. It is getting new art, but yeah, looking at Pokemon Proxies, it's here, but it's not a new card. And yeah, ultimately, I'm excited for this set. It's introducing, I guess, suppose we could just hop right into it. We are doing a tier list today with tiers S, A, B, C, D, F, where this is going to be a tier list. I guess we didn't talk about this beforehand. This is what I assumed going in. We're ranking is kind of relative to kind of all the cards in the game, I guess, right? Where like S tier would be, something like Lilies. It doesn't need to be as good as Lilies. Determination.
Or Dragapult.
Yeah, Dragapult. There's some S tier cards. I'm not necessarily expecting any S tier cards here. And then maybe some A tier cards.
Yeah, even A tier is going to be tough, I think, with this. But yeah, it's kind of where they fit in the standard meta. So, and we do have all the cards. So potentially there's some F tier cards. I don't really know that there are, but we'll see, right? There's not as, probably there's going to be some F tier cards that we just don't know about yet, right? There will be, I assume, some bulk junk in the set, but that might not get announced beforehand.
Yeah. A lot of times, no one really cares about those cards, right? So, anyways, I'll start with the new mechanic, I guess here, which is the double stadiums. I guess. Do you have a better name for it than that?
No, double, twin, dual. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. We had the V Union Pokemon is this kind of like that, where you had 4 pieces to play. This, you have 2 stadium cards. You got to have 2 halves. You got to play both of them, and they both. Sorry, I'm jumping on what you're gonna say, but you can add sort of. And they both have the same name. They're both they're legendary stadiums, I guess is the name for the mechanic, right? So like the one is Legendary Trench, and both pieces are called Legendary Trench, and both halves also have the full text. Unlike the V Unions, I was just noticing before I hadn't paid attention to it. The V Unions, each of those, they had the 4 pieces you had to play at once, but they each had different attacks the Pokemon could use. Here, the text is identical on the 2 halves, which is a little. I was surprised when I saw that, I'll say.
Yeah. Regarding that, there's a few things I have to add on top of that. But regarding the fact that you have the stadiums, the full text is on both stadiums. So again, you need to play both to play it down. But aside from that, they're quote normal stadiums. On Pokemon Proxies, it like defines them as like Legendary Trench L and Legendary Trench R, but again, they are the same names there. And interestingly, they have the text sideways facing actually the players there, because the stadiums are kind of it's going to be
Right.
either upside down for one player or sideways for both players. But here it's actually going to be facing both players, which is actually kind of nice. Though admittedly the text is maybe hard to read. I don't know. For us, I kind of need to turn my head sideways. But in playing this, it could actually be pretty convenient there. Unlike the legends, which actually are those were also two cards which you combined. They were like sideways, and they are legends. So and then you point out the legendary text, which I also just realized. So I think that's probably what they're kind of quote referencing there, the Pokemon
Yeah.
Legends, with the legendary stadiums, and yeah, it's definitely I think a cool idea, and both halves again do the same thing, so it affects both players the same, unlike the stadiums that were like quote double-sided that do different things to different players, and in play they are kind of weird, I guess, but they actually don't function crazy differently than a regular card.
No, it's not like the V Unions, which had to get from the discard into play. These you play from your hand. Just need both halves to play, and I assume I don't. I assume you can't have both of the same half to put in play. I don't actually know what the text says that it makes that. It says the other half. So
Yeah.
okay, so that's how they handle that there. What makes these worse than regular stadiums besides the fact you need both halves, so you have to get both halves, but also now you can only essentially have two copies of the stadium, right? Because you need the left and right, so you can only play it twice, so to speak. So it is decidedly worse than a regular stadium the way it ends up working. So are these good enough to overcome that negative aspect? That's part of the question.
Yeah, and then also kind of adding on to that, you might have bigger pricing issues. With these, obviously,
Yeah.
like the question is, we're gonna get to exactly what they do, but we're talking about them more generally first. And if you were playing these, do you think you'd run like a 1-1 split or a 2-2 split, essentially?
I think I'd have to play a 2-2 split because obviously, you run the risk of if one piece is prized, it's no good. Plus, if I'm playing the deck, I'm probably leaning into it. Especially first off, it's at least two deck slots, so you don't want to throw away two deck slots. So I'm taking it. What the stadium does, I'm incorporating into my deck something I want to do, and of course, it can get bumped. So I would think I'm playing the full like 2-2 line for the stadium.
Yeah, I kind of agree, and I agree with your thinking. They are honestly completely where then they're kind of leaning into it, right? Because then you're playing four copies of the card now, and then again, it could be prized, especially when you have four copies, likelihood that one's prized, or that you just like can't get it. And then again, you need them together. I feel like you're only expecting to play it down once. You're probably not expecting to play down both. I mean, it's possible. We'll talk about some ways to search it. You got like Noctowl, there's a new supporter. There's Cypher Manix
Yeah.
code breaking. It's actually not as bad to search out as you might think. There's even like Colossus Tenacity to search one of the pieces, but it's certainly not easy to search out. Then again, your opponent can just like bump it pretty easily. These don't have any sort of
Yeah.
protection. For example, there are Prism Star stadiums, which were stadiums that you could only play one copy of in your deck, and there's some other stuff to them. But then on top
Yeah.
of that, you also saw that these cards had protection from items or supporters that removed the stadium. So, admittedly, the same is probably going to get bumped by another stadium. You're probably not going to get hit by like Blowtorch, but I mean, this is just super vulnerable, I would say, which is I think these are going to be pretty difficult to play, even if the effects are strong.
Yeah, it's going to be a downside. The number of decks play some stadiums, so people have the bump, and there is the Pokemon, right? That what is it on playability that bumps
Oh
the
yeah,
stadium?
the Chimpow, yeah.
Yeah, the Chimpao. So right, which on play basics. So if you're playing a deck, if a deck becomes very strong with these stadiums, it's going to be the stadium's going to be countered very easily. So if you're going to build a deck on one of these stadiums, I think to me you need to hope that it doesn't become a dominant deck because it's too counterable.
Yeah, and like expanded, and maybe who knows, we'll see some reveals for that. There are ways to kind of stop your opponent from bumping stadiums, but they're not usually super good. I guess there actually is a standard way to do it now that I think about it. There is a Chi-Yu. I actually play this card. I guess it's underrated. I don't know. I've like not really seen people play it. I've apparently seen a tiny bit of play, but it does for one fire, it does 40, and then if your opponent has a stadium in play, you discard it. And then if you do during wait, actually, sorry, no, never mind. This doesn't do that. It stops them from playing a stadium next turn, but only if they already have a stadium in play. So this wouldn't actually
Okay.
stop it. So I was wrong. One of the few times there. No, but um, Yeah, like it's not really very doable to stop him from playing stadiums. But anyways, I suppose we should talk about what they actually do. I'll start with Legendary Summit here, which I would say is the better of the two. I imagine you'll probably agree. But this one says when knocked out by damage from an opponent. Okay, also like the word here is kind of weird. But when knocked out by damage from an opponent's attack, both players' colorless Pokemon give up one less prize card. So this is good, right? I guess.
Yeah. Now the wording might not be exactly correct,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Because these are translations done from the Japanese, not the official Pokemon translations. Yeah, so the awkwardness may get sorted out. You never
Yeah.
know, but just want to say that. But yeah, so one less prize given up for colorless Pokemon. Obviously, potentially very, very good. So there are some good colorless decks around. I guess. Yeah. Well, probably Mega Kangaskhan. I would think is what it goes with most. There's like Mega Lopunny. I'm not the biggest fan of that, but that gets played, and I'm probably blanking on some stuff. There's the Terra deck, right? That's kind of fallen off. Maybe that comes
Yeah, with
back with it.
Terrapico. But with Terrapicos, then you kind of really need Aerodeo under depths, right?
Yeah, because you want the big bench and you want to play the Noctowls and such. So probably a Mega Kangaskhan Buffalant type deck, I would think, you're reducing damage and you're giving less prizes, so you're kind of making it slow and tanky for your opponent to work through things. Is what that's kind of what I'm thinking about there.
Yeah, that is an idea. I'm looking through the colorless Pokemon that are like good. There are actually a bunch of good colorless Pokemon, but they're mostly support Pokemon theoretically, especially like you're looking at maybe Meowth then it's kind of nice for protecting that because there's a liability, not protecting it from getting knocked out, but from giving up two prizes really easily. But that's not really that could be a real reason to run this double stadium. That's pretty rough there. Um, and then yeah, you hit on the other Pokemon, and with Mega Kangaskhan, and even like Mega Lopunny, those are two Megas. And by the way, there's a new Mega from the
Yeah.
set we will get to, which is also colorless, the Mega Rayquaza, which I guess is the intended partner there. It's not
Well,
super good, but
actually, no. Well, first, you're not completely right there. First, there are two colorless
oh
Pokemon, right? There's
yes,
an
there are two
evolution,
ways. Yeah.
and if you look at the right hand piece, right, isn't this is this Talonflame on the
Oh,
card?
that's the yeah, or the previous evolutions. Yeah. So I suppose I was wrong. I guess I will say though, it is like kind of very clearly like the Talonflame is intended to be paired with the Mega Rayquaza as well. And funnily enough,
Yeah,
you're playing the Talonflame without the previous evolutions, so you're not actually playing the Fletchling. I guess no, the save's intended to have zero prize Fletchling Fletchinders, and then you can like retreat lock with Fletchinder or something like that. I don't know, but yeah, no, you're
well,
right.
I mean, they put the Talonflame here on the thing, like that's what it's supposed to go with. But honestly, I don't see. We're not going to talk about Talonflame right now, but I don't think it has any synergy with that. I think it actually has some synergy with the Mega Rayquaza. It's a basic, giving up three prizes, so all of a sudden your basic gives up two prizes. That's a big plus for like a basic Mega deck.
I guess. I mean, I played some Mega decks, but I don't know. I've mostly seen like Megas played as an option within decks that are like two prizers. And then, like with Mega Kangaskhan, it's often, you're forcing your opponent to take not just two knockouts, you're trying to get them to take three knockouts.
Right.
And they're probably having to do that. And then when you throw in the stadium, it doesn't even like do anything at that point, really. So, I mean, it means they take one less prize. But then you can't like you couldn't like hit him with the card that I'm like in the name of Chaos Rising, special red card. There we go. So like Legendary Summit, I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's a mediocre at best. It's searchable. I mentioned Cyphermax, Code Breaking paired with Mega Kangaskhan. You can get it. You mentioned Terrapagos, like with Noctowl there. So I mean, I don't think this card. Ultimately, how good do you think this card is here?
Um, yeah, it's not going to be that good. I'll say honestly, I think the other one may have a little more potential as for a rogue deck type thing. Well, I think the way I'd run it is with the mega like a Mega Kangaskhan Buffalant. Although with that, you can also make the argument, which we'll get to, that you might play the other stadium instead too. Um, but I think it's like a big bait. It's a colorless deck where you're attacking with colorless Pokemon, big basic deck. It obviously look. You brought up expanded a little bit before. I'm going to say probably maybe expanded has more potential. Although the problem with expanded is once your opponent you play this down, your opponent plays chaotic swell down. you're just done with the stadium, right? Because you unless you can bump the Cadex Swell with like a tool,
Yeah.
like an item card, a trainer card, you're just done for the game. So you're very even more fragile and expanded. But yeah, I don't think it's all that strong for decks.
Yeah, I think it's. Wait, so wait, you didn't say a tier though, did you?
I did not say a tier. So it's fun. In reality, it might be D tier, although I would like to put it at C tier.
Yeah, I think yeah, my gut was saying like C tier, but I also want to like I'm excited. It's like a cool concept, so that's definitely pushing it up for
Yeah.
me in a way that it probably shouldn't, right? So I'd say yeah, maybe D tier is right. I don't know. I think C tier, like theoretically, because we're talking about this with the good megas, which or the good colors Pokemon, which are mostly like megas and
Yeah.
stuff. Theoretically, if you pair this with a good single prize colors Pokemon, you don't give up any prizes. This could lead to some nasty control deck theoretically, especially because control often is colorless, and then. It is good theoretically if you're running a colorless draw engine as well, reducing. Wait, sorry, let
Yeah.
me read the stadium again. So it is by damage from an opponent's attack. So if your opponent like hits it on the bench, then or if they hit it with like damage counters, then they can take knockout or they can take a prize there. But I don't know. I think. Yeah, I guess I'm between D and C tier. I'd like to put it C tier. I don't know if it should go in C tier, but that's where I kind of want it.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's two ways to look at it. So let's say, in terms of ratings, there's one in terms of the competitive scene, it's like a
Yeah,
D tier, probably. But there's also in terms of like decks, fun decks to play, it's a little better, right? So why don't we
I
stick it
guess.
at C tier? Think, with the acknowledgement we might be overrating it.
Yeah, I would actually say I think this might work better. I guess we'll talk about it now, and I'll talk about the other one. You wanna read that one out?
Yeah, so Legendary Trench here, which, as you mentioned before, it's got a water theme to it. When a Pokemon in play is healed, both yours and your opponent's double the amount of HP healed. So it doubles your healing. So there is at least one healing card with this, and there's healing cards in the format now. So look, I like healing decks. I like tanking. It kind of makes a tanky deck tankier in that sense. And I'm sure you're going to say tanky decks don't work. Which is yeah. I'll get you. I'll give you they're underperform. What they appeal. But like if I'm playing the Mega Kangaskhan Buffalant and that, I'm playing one of my favorite cards in format, a Jumbo Ice Cream. I like playing that a lot. So bang, double on my Jumbo Ice Cream, Super Potion. You might play it in that and some other things. So all of a sudden you're getting really good, solid healing. So that is a big plus for this deck. So that's why I was saying like Mega Kangaskhan, I might actually lean into the healing stadium, double stadium, more than the prize reduction double stadium.
Yeah, I don't know. I can see that. Oh, I do want to quickly mention we were talking about this before, and I'm looking in the Legendary Trench, the left half in the lower left-hand
Yeah.
corner. There is a Wishiwashi there, or the School of Wishiwashi or whatever. It's kind of camouflaged, but there is one there, so that's kind of funny. And so that clearly is, I guess, a partner. Although again, you mentioned with the Legendary Summit one, the partners are kind of weird. I suppose we might see an Altaria as well, but we'll see. But yeah. So this stadium again, double healing. I mean, you said tanky decks generally aren't super good. I'm looking at Jumbo Ice Cream and the decks it's seeing legitimate like success in, and there is some like Manhandles Can slash Big Basic stuff. Most of this is Mega Absol pre-rotation, I think, for the stuff you're kind of talking about. I'm just like doing a quick check through. Yeah, that's what it's mostly looking like. Um, not exclusively, but then you see a lot of Crustle there. And when you look at healing in the Pokemon TCG that's like good. Oh, by the way, this is like actual healing, so this like doesn't work with Munkidori. If it did, I don't know. That might be a little bit of a different story, but it doesn't. So
Yeah.
you look at like healing, and you look at I'd say the best healing card in Standard by a bit is going to be Wally's Compassion. And you see like
Yeah.
when you think of good healing decks, what I think of are decks, maybe like where you're essentially healing all the damage, and so this doesn't do anything there. And then you look at like Jumbo Ice Cream with Mega Kangaskhan, it actually is decent there, but it's still a bunch of pieces for relatively mediocre results. And then you look at like pairing it with Crustle, seems a bit clunky when you don't really have an engine. Again, we will talk about the new supporter. I guess we'll talk about it after this, but I don't think
Yeah.
it's going to change the ratings on the stadiums. And then with Crustal, I mean, you're probably not taking that much damage. I'm trying to think. I'm not super familiar with Crustal, and how it plays all that often. It's not really a deck I love to play that much, and certainly not a deck I love to play against that much either. But with this deck, obviously, you have healing, but you're probably gonna heal off most of the damage with Jumbo Ice Cream. When I played with and against the deck, it seems like one is enough, and you don't need extra healing there. So ultimately, I feel like the use case of this is pretty niche, and then what it does isn't super powerful. And I saw like a comment on PokeBeast, and it was like, the stadium probably wouldn't necessarily be very good with if it was just a regular stadium. I think the Coliseum would be good if it was a regular stadium, potentially exploitable, potentially not amazing, but could be good. And we've seen stadiums like in the past that have been. I mean, there was a Prism Star. Now that I think about it, you never played Black Market. Did you play Black Market Prism Star, like in Eternus or anything?
I've had it at times with it, so
Okay.
yes.
But then like I'm trying to think of healing stadiums. I guess the most of the healing stadiums are like the Worlds promos, which are really terrible. But like I don't know. I mean, I just think healing generally isn't super good, even in like more casual settings as well. You're not looking at these like little bits of healing. Then like if it's really like if it's a lot of healing, then you don't need to double it because it's fine. If it's like not much healing, then doubling it isn't that good. So I don't know. It feels like it's very niche in its use case. And then obviously you also have the double stadium aspect on top of it. So I mentioned before the podcast, I thought there was an F tier card. I think this is the F tier card / cards. I think it's really
Well,
bad.
first, all right, let me give a real quick defense on it. So
Okay,
first off, if you're playing it with Wishy Washy EX, it's F tier because Wishy Washy EX, which we'll get to, only has 260 HP. So if you're getting one shot, the stadium's no good, obviously. So
okay.
the Mega Kangaskhan Bouffalante, though, you have 300 HP. You have the Bouffalante, you're taking 60 less damage, so you're not getting one shot, right? That's the design. And then Jumbo Ice Cream, because that goes with the deck, you're healing 60, and now you're healing, 80. So now you're healing 160 off an item. So that's actually very good, right? So it has some value in that. So I think it's better than it's better than F tier is what I'll say. I think I gotta, I'll say let's put it in D tier because does potentially have value in the Mega Kangaskhan Bouffalante deck, right?
Yes. I mean, when you're looking at like defensive decks as well, and when you also look at the good stadiums in Standard, they're mostly defensive or not defensive, like kind of counter stadiums. And I'm looking at like my Kangaskhan here, and it plays like Nighttime Mine. You got like Team Rocket Splash Tower, obviously not what you're looking for in this deck. But in some tanky decks, you might want that. There's different options. They're not amazing, but they're okay. And ultimately, I don't know. I mean, it's also hard to search, right? It's like searchable, but you're spending a good chunk of resources to do it, and like you're probably using Scythe Mace code breaking plus Benny Kangaskhan EX. Then you play the stadium down, and maybe you'll heal some. But you could have also gotten like more healing cards, and then just also healed more, and then not like require this weird thing to set up. I can see it in D tier, I suppose.
All right.
So do you actually think the stadium is better than the colorless one?
Probably not. I don't think that I don't know there's a two-tier difference between the two stadiums though.
That's
how
fair.
about that?
Okay, that's
so so let's put them CD or DF. That's the choice I'll give you.
Yeah, let's do CD, I suppose. I could even see them both in D tier. I think there legitimately could be potential with a color stadium if we get it.
Yeah,
I get a good color stack, I guess. But again, it can't be too good to Sear Sting as well.
Well, once they reprint Block Snorlax, right? Then that those will be really fun games.
Yeah. The amazing mirror.
So yeah, so put the D tier for Legendary Trench, which it could be F tier, but you can look you can play around with it and try and do something there, right? There are cards that you just want to never want to touch too, right? Which is what F tier is for to me.
That's fair. That's fair. But anyways, let's move on to the next card, which is the Supporter, which I mentioned before. Wait, how do I say this? Is this?
I'd say Arun. It starts off. It's double A at the start to get at the beginning of the dictionary, the Pokemon Encyclopedia. But
yeah, at first I was like, oh, double A. The only other double A name I know is Aaron. Is this just a weird spelling of Aaron? But that can't be right? Surely not.
No, I would say Arun, but maybe it's Arun. I don't know.
Yeah, Arun sounds better than whatever I would have said. But anyway, so this supporter says it's a supporter that searches for three in combination of supporters in stadiums, puts them into your hand, then shuffles. So obviously you can get the double stadiums there, and then also get supporter for
Right.
like next turns, kind of the idea there. So yeah, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, we know how good supporters that search for supporters are, right? They're the best cards in the game. So
So
you
good,
play your Arun and you search for three supporters, and then hope your opponent doesn't play Judge, right?
yeah,
So obviously, supporters looking for supporters is not a good thing. But it's here because of these legendary stadiums. So because of that, it has some value. Obviously, it only has value to the extent the legendary stadiums are played, right? Because if you're not playing those stadiums, I don't think you're gonna want this, right? So, um, although hey, maybe I want to revisit my cast form deck and expand it with this. Right now, I can get three stadiums and discard them, so always good for anything that up improves my cast form deck too. But but in reality, it's not a very good supporter, right? Honestly, I think it's worse than the stadiums because it only really helps the stadium base decks, and but you have other ways to get the stadium still without playing the supporter.
yeah. I'm trying to think. So there was a supporter card in Misty's favor, which was a supporter that searched for three supporters. It actually saw a little bit of play, but that's because it had like some really specific synergies. So
Okay.
that isn't really very good with the Slowpoke and Psyduck deck, which just so funny, not very good. But you got some funny stuff there. But again, it is mostly funny stuff here. Wait, this card flips 10
Oh,
coins? Okay.
hang on a second. So there's the attack. If you have an attack, right, that's based on supporters in the discard type thing, right, or supporters in hand, we have the what is
Oh,
it,
the
Team Rocket's
Honchkrow.
Pokemon?
Yeah. There's Team Marcus Honchkrow. I guess you could play it there. I haven't played this deck too much. I've played it some, and it's kind of clunky. One issue with the deck is, I mean, I don't know, how much space do you actually have for supports? And then also you're not playing um a support that actually like really does anything, right? And it's not even that
Right.
strong either.
No, you get your three. So let's say you need that. You get three supporters, but then now I need like two Ultra Balls or something to discard them as well. So,
No, it's in your hand.
um,
The
what's
Porygon,
that?
the
Oh,
Porygons are
Porygon.
from the discard, but the Honchkrow's in your hand.
Okay, from hand. So it does. Yeah, but other than that, it has no value as a supporter. So, I mean, look, if you're playing Team Rocket's Honchkrow, are you going to put a copy of Arun in your deck? I like maybe you do.
Yeah, it's interesting, I guess. Also, like searching for supporters and stadiums. I mean, searching supporters off a supporter isn't good, but it's not like the worst thing. It's nice as a bonus. I think the stadium's
Yeah.
also kind of nice as a bonus. Nothing feels amazing here, but yeah.
No, I mean, obviously, if you're playing the legendary stadiums, you're going to think about this, and getting your like lilies for next turn or boss or whatever is good. And it puts pressure on your opponent maybe to play a judge when they rather than some other supporter that they might want to play. So it's not again, it's not F tier, but I think I probably put it below legendary trench because I think it's not going to be better than the legendary stadiums, right? It's going to be slightly worse. That's kind of where my mind's at.
That's fair. I mean, I think there is theoretically a world where the supporter sees a little bit of play in like some random deck, and then the stadiums like never see any play, like serious
Yeah,
play.
that's
But
yeah.
I think D tier is certainly fine for it, and I'm fine putting it below the stadium here.
Okay. I mean, if you want to put it top of D tier, I could do that too. But where do you want it?
No, I think bottom's
Bottom.
fine. I don't think it really matters too much.
No. Okay.
Then
So do you want to stick with trainers, or do you want to go to Pokemon now?
I guess we've been hyping it up so much. Let's talk about the Wishy-Washy EX here. Um,
Okay.
yeah, so this card is a water Pokemon, a water EX here, and it's got 260 HP, so that's high. Wishy-Washy,
Yeah.
generally has high HP. And then you have, by the way, this HP is like high, but it's not like the highest for a two prizer. So it's good, but it's not like absurd. And then,
Well,
or sorry, two prize basic.
okay. Is there what's a higher two prize basic?
T-Rex B2EX actually has higher. It has 20 more. And then Blooming Ursaluna EX has the same amount and is like
Okay.
quite good. But those are
Okay.
both better than Wishy-Washy. Yeah, and then you do 220 for 4, 3 of which are water, and then you have this ability Ocean Gain. You can use this ability once you turn if you're in the active, heal 50 from this Pokemon. When I first read this, I was like, oh, it heals from like some Pokemon. I was like, maybe this is okay. Also, it has 3 retreat costs, so it doesn't even like. I guess it could have. You could use Surfing Beach if you want to like use this ability and like switch because again is only in the active.
Right.
But yeah, I think this card is pretty terrible. I will mention there is a supporter which searches for 4 water energies and attaches them to one of your Pokemon that ends your turn. I don't remember if it's only water Pokemon, but it doesn't matter for this. I don't think the card's very
Well,
good, but you'd play it here, I guess.
no, you have to, right? It matters for this, right? I think the Misty's energy,
Yeah.
right? Which I'm pretty sure it accelerates to any type of Pokemon. So
Okay.
it's yeah, up to 4 basic energies to one of your Pokemon. So you're going to play that. So you're going to want to go second if you're playing a Wishy-Washy deck. You got to hit your Misties on your first turn to get 3 energies on. Well, actually, you can attack. So right, so you
Huh?
you Misties. Oh no, Misties ends your turn.
Yeah, no,
right?
Misty's into your turn. That's part of what makes it bad.
So you get 4. So you've got to do it your first turn and then not get knocked out.
Yeah.
So that's the question. But assuming you don't get knocked out, you heal 50. They're intending you to play the Legendary Trench. So now you're healing 100. And then you got to hope you don't get knocked out the following turn because it's 4 energies. You can play Heavy Baton like we've talked about at times, right?
Wait,
Because it's 3
what's Heavy
energies,
Baton?
which move. Isn't it move 2 energies?
No, it's move. I think it's 3. No, but you need a retreat cost of exactly 4. This has a retreat cost of 3.
Oh, we should also. Oh, you're right. You're right. I
Yeah.
got confused. So yeah, it doesn't work on this. So yeah. I mean, it's not good, right? It's quote supposed to be tanky, but 260 is just not high enough in the game to be tanky
Yeah.
because the evolution EXs. So you're gonna get one shot, 4 energies. 220 for 3 was kind of okay. It was okay. I'm not sure if it is right now. Healing 50 is not enough, so this is just a bad card.
Yeah, I will say. I mean, I was not getting one shot all the time. You know, you look at obviously like the best deck in the game,
No.
Dragapult, not necessarily one shot in it.
Right.
We'll 2-shot 2 of them, but again, you do have some healing. Like your attack just isn't very good. The ability isn't that good, and you're not like absurdly tanky either. And then some stuff will one-shot you. I feel like there's not really much going for this card. It's not like the worst card around. I'm not really sure where to rank this in the tier list. It's not F tier, but
No.
yeah, where do you put it?
I mean, because you're not going to play it though, right? There's not like a deck you're going to put a copy of it in, and I don't think if you build a Wishy-Washy deck, you're going to see success.
I mean,
and
maybe
I don't
if you're
think even.
playing Mega
Go
Warlord.
ahead.
Oh, sorry, not Mega Warlord, regular Warlord EX.
Okay. I mean, it probably is like D tier though, right?
Yeah, I'd say it's better than the other D tier cards. Also, I will say, like, Tramp Excalibur was a deck. Wasn't, like, super good, but it was decent. And I guess it was actually pretty good at one point. And something like that, I feel like you could definitely put this in because, I mean, it's not that good, but it's okay. We got, like, a Dugong in Standard, which is a pretty cool card. Maybe you could see some Water stuff with that. Water's slowly getting better. Water's been pretty bad for a little while, outside of, I guess, the Ogre Pond, which isn't even that good. So... I mean, it's good, but it's not like crazy or like it's not enough to carry the type. So
yeah. Let me just ask this, because obviously you mentioned the stadium for switching, but we also have Latias EX because it is a basic.
Oh yeah.
So so that sorts that out, and I can't believe you forgot that because that's like, you think that card's like
it's
the
very
goat
good
here. No, it is very good. But if I played Wishy-Washy somehow with the switching and maybe I'm playing some Blissey too, Blissey EX to do some energy switching, so I kind of get a deck where I'm cycling around between attackers over the course of the game and not getting one shot, but then I send up another Wishy-Washy. It might be that kind of deck.
Yeah. And then there's the Dugong as well. Dugong, by the way, if you don't know, is a card, by the way. I think I just made a video on what I think the pre-release promo should have been. I think maybe Dugong should have been a pre-release promo. It lets you, it's like arm moves for water energy, so that's like kind of cool. Moving it from the bench to the active, so you could do that there with Wishy-Washy EX. It's like a similar idea. Blissey, you mentioned, were you mostly just mentioning it for the ability, or were you also mentioning it for like its high HP and like attack and stuff? Because obviously that like matters a little bit.
For its ability to move the energy. So yeah, so probably the Dugong's the better way to do it.
Yeah, and there's something there, I guess, except you need like some way to accelerate, which I guess would be Misty's energy. Ultimately, I don't think it's very like I mean, just taking a turn off is pretty rough, especially in a deck that's already
Yeah.
kind of slow. But I mean, yeah, maybe there's something there. I do think it is. I'd probably say it's a D tier above the other stuff, but
Yeah, I think
there's
that's
something
fair.
kind of.
Yeah. So we've kind of talked about some potentials with it, but maybe there'll be some way to tease it out a little bit better. But it's not going to be great, probably. And, we probably don't, we've given enough attention to the Wishy Washy EX, though, I would say, right?
Yeah, so we give a lot of attention to these cards here, which aren't all that good. But yeah, then we got. I guess we'll go along with. I'll go from the beginning, looking at Cacturn. This card is pretty cool
Okay.
in my opinion. It is a grass stage 1 here, so can use Force of Vitality there, and then you have linear attack doing 30 snipe for 1 colorless, which I suppose could like snipe a Badoo or something. And then you got Punishing Needle here for 1 grass. You do 10, 50 more for each Pokemon, your opponent's Pokemon in play that has an ability. So um, theoretically, I suppose capping out at what 450 if the guy has 0 under apps. Realistically, you're looking at this
Well,
for how much? I don't know, like
210.
210 or something. Yeah. Oh, I said 450 to 460. So yeah, like 210 maybe. It's we've seen cards like this in the past. And they've been decent, right?
Right. We had the Scissor with the Goldengo deck, right? That was the
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah. That
So,
was
yes.
solid.
What was that?
Yeah, that was solid.
Yeah, and that definitely, because like I was playing Goldengo more earlier than you were, I think, and the Scissor was kind of one of those in and out cards, but but definitely had a place in the deck for certainly for consideration. So if you're playing a grass deck, it is you do need grass energy for the attack, but you slap a 1/1 line in. Probably is all you're going to do. Give you a single prize attacker to with the potential to take out a rule box Pokemon. So I mean, this is obviously a much better card than any of those we've talked about so far.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's not crazy interesting, but like it's honestly within grass decks, it's pretty decent. I don't know
Yeah.
exactly how much it'll see, and I'm a bit lower in grass stuff than other people. I think a lot of people like to act like Force Vitality is just like free, like and always there, and then all the Pokemon are also free and always there, which is like isn't true. But um, it's it works pretty well there. You got like by catching set and switching out a basic in stage 1 isn't too bad. The basic has 70 HP. Nice. Is there another Cacnea standard? I feel like there is with some like ability. Never mind. So yeah, this card's probably B tier, I'd say.
Yeah, I think it's B tier. Because like I said, I played with the Scissor some, but it wasn't like a tremendous card, but it was a positive. So if it's kind of like that, I think B tier is probably a fair place to put the Cacturn.
Yeah, I actually really liked the Scissor. It actually was almost even a little tanky, and there were some situations where it was really nice. I don't think this is necessarily going to be quite as good as Scissor, but I thought Scissor was a little underrated as well. So yeah, B tier feels perfect here. Quicker discussion, a good card, not like a broken card, obviously,
Yeah.
but a decent card. Then we got Mega Glaciopod EX, the next grass Pokemon. This one for 3 colors can do, by the way, has 340 HP, but 3 colors it does 160. Stops the Fang Pokemon from retreating next turn. Then Finishing Blow for 1 grass, the main attack here. And it does 60, but if your opponent's active has any damage cards on it, it does 160 more, so 220 there for 1. Again, only if they have damage cards on their active. So what are your thoughts here?
First, look, it's 340 HP, so that's a nice number there. The second attack that Quattro hold that they can't retreat when it's 160. That's you don't want to do that much damage if you're trying to get something stuck there, right? So it's a little weird there. That's
Yeah.
not a good. It's not a very helpful combination of numbers there of stats that they
Yeah,
put with
maybe
that
going
attack.
for like some 2-shot on like a Latias, or something. I don't know.
Yeah, or Mega Kangaskhan for a deck that's just using it for draw. That's not playing and attacking with it. Maybe.
Yeah, but they'll still get
Um,
extra cards because you're gusting it, or like trapping
yes.
it.
Yeah. So that second, but it's the first attack, 60 for 1. I mean, what? It's 220 plus whatever damage is on them already. So you're one-shotting basic EXs, I would say. And and obviously we have ways to get damage counters on Monkey Dory. There's the Frost. If you're playing a Frostless deck, you're a big Frostless fan, so maybe you want to go with this in a Frostless style deck. And we have the Dusknoir line as well. So you can get the numbers like with Dusknoir, you can get the numbers to be what you need to take to one shot with this. It will give the finishing blow like the attack is called. And grass decks they're certainly not bad. You're not as high. You said you're not as high on them as other people, but you still would recognize that they're good. And this is again, an option in a grass deck. It's a stage one, so you can have a 1/1 line or something more, depending how much you want to lean into it. It's a good card, I think.
Yeah, I think it's decent. I will mention with the options you said for damage cards, there's also Team Rocket's Venture Bomb, which is like kind of sketchy, but there's
Yeah,
also Risk Greens as well, which again is also pretty sketchy, especially with the stadium there. And then you kind of have to navigate that with your grass stadium or whatever you're doing there. But
right.
with Munkidor and Frostlash, they're both kind of slow. Probably not going to get the damage cards on in time necessarily, or requiring some extra commitment, which is a bit of a pain there. They're not like terrible options, but they're not great. And then you look at what was the other one
Dusknoir?
Dusknoir. Yeah, I mean like that's not slow. It's fast because it's giving you prizes fast, so that can be bad. But and then someone mentioned this. I saw. I'm not sure where they mentioned it, but they mentioned it with Arboliva EX. I don't think Arboliva EX is very good, but this with Arboliva is actually interesting because generally you like with Arboliva EX, I'd say one big issue with the card is like it does 120 spread out between Pokemon in increments of 20. That being said, you're looking at Pokemon with HPs of 70, so you like knock one out, and then you're kind of just sitting there like, what do I do with the rest of this damage? So then if you place it on a Pokemon that like you just want to knock out, you would place it on like a Dragapult, and now you're swinging for a bunch of damage there into the Dragapult. You're not necessarily knocking it out, but you are doing a good chunk of damage there. And you can do that to like two other Pokemon, so then they are within range of getting just hit for a lot of damage there with Mega Lysopod EX, and I think that's a decent use case. Also, it does, as you were saying, have a bunch of HP, which is theoretically
Yeah.
nice if you're playing this in like Arboliva. Then that's like a stage 2, which has less HP, and then your other attackers, what like the Ogerpon there, and even Meganium, and those just aren't like tanky. This is tanky, so it could be useful at the end of the game. It's not a crazy good Pokemon. I'd say
No.
maybe C tier that. It's not that bad.
Yeah, look, it's better than the Legendary Summit Stadium, right? I think that I feel pretty comfortable with that
Yeah,
statement.
that's probably fair. At first, when I saw this card, I was like, this card isn't like that good, but it's definitely grown on me. I think it's okay.
Yeah, what I'd like to see probably to get better use of it is like a grass spread attacker, which I'm not sure that there is one. Like if you're going with like an Uxie style deck, which again is not a strong competitive deck, but a fun deck that you can get some success with. Slapping in something like this in that type of deck is not a bad option, but I'm not sure what the grass spread attack is.
Yeah, and you're looking for something like probably easier than our believer, right?
Yes, something. I like the Uxie's nice too because it's a single prizer, so I can give up a couple Uxies along the way, and I'm not worrying about it because figuring that to take out two Mega Glissopods to win the game. So I think a little single prize basic that I can slap get in the active easy early in the game is what I'd like to see to get the Glissopods set up.
Yeah. Oh, there is a good grass single prize basic that just does a little bit of damage, which is Badoo.
That is true. That is true, and I think it does see some play. But obviously something that hits all of that sprinkles across your
Yeah.
opponent's board is better. But yeah, yes, don't forget Badoo.
Yeah.
So okay, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So yeah, let's just move on. I guess we'll continue
Yeah,
through the Pokemon. Look at Sableye. This one was originally not on the tier list because I don't think it's very interesting or very good. You have Shining Eyes for 2. This is of course like a basic Pokemon. Also has 80 HP, probably worse than 70. Can't be searched with Bud Poffin there.
yeah,
But anyways, you have for Darkness Colorless, you put 5 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon, then lure out for 1 Darkness. You reveal the top 5 cards of your opponent's deck, put any number of basic Pokemon there onto their bench, and they shuffle the other cards back. You mentioned this in like a control trapping deck before the podcast, which
yeah.
generally aren't even that good, to be honest. I mean, they can be good, but usually you're looking at like attacks to recover resources or to just trap stuff. And this is like not super good. It's kind of like it's the same effect as like Accompanying Flute, right? Which is in standard. Yeah, it's in standard, and yeah, it's like the same exact effect. So Accompanying Flute doesn't really see play in standard right now. Much. I'm glancing, and yeah, I don't think it really sees much play. And then it's okay, as a control card or like a card within theoretically some type of spread deck, but this is just slower. I think it's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's not very good. I mean, like I said, I wanted to put it in first. It's the only one we didn't have in the list. I think it's not a terrible attack for a control deck. You build you use this, and then you play neutralization zone, right? The stadium that everyone forgets about, and then you fill up their bench, so their whole board is rule box Pokemon, and they can't take any prizes, and you win the game. So
Yeah,
it just
yeah,
wins
sure.
for you.
Uh-huh.
So,
Um,
but no, it's not good. But it's, I mean, where do you want to put it though? Is it like better or like worse than like Wishy Washy, for
I
instance?
think it's definitely worse than Wishy-Washy. I think it's the bottom of D tier.
Okay,
You,
all
you
right.
don't want to. You're not going to put in F tier, right?
I don't look if you really want F tier, I'll let you. I'll let you do that because
Nah,
we have F tier. If you want to see something there, go ahead.
nah. It's not actually F tier. I don't know. I mean, there are worse Pokemon like that exist. Most of them are just random previous
Yeah,
evolutions or like super low rarity. I guess this is also common. So, but yeah, it could be worse. I suppose. Bottom of D tier. I mean, there are worse cards.
yeah. I think that's fair. Right? There's got to be like a single prize Victini that might be
Like
worse too.
Victini.
I don't.
Victini's like a generally gets good cards.
No, I like Victini, but I think there's been a few, the random Victini that everyone forgets about. That's all I'm saying, right? That's a
Yeah.
final evolution, right? This is my point, rather than a pre-evolution.
Yeah, I guess. I know. I would think like Victini is like has so sorry. The Victini has like so many good single prizes though. I want to take a quick look at this. Oh, also there's like the really
Okay,
expensive one. Yeah, no, there's like
I
so many
like.
good Victinis.
I mean, I
So
like
many good.
Victini. Don't. I'm not trying to say Victini's bad. Victini is great,
Okay,
but
maybe there's one that's not great. Pretty much all of them are good though. I'm not gonna lie. Like Victini has a stacked set of cards. But regardless, now we're getting off topic.
yeah,
But
yes,
which as I tend to do. But then we talk about it's because Mega Malamar made it. Yeah, that's why. That's why. But yeah, Mega Malamar finally getting a card here. As much as Malamar gets hyped up and stuff. Uh, let's talk about this card, I guess. 320 HP, stage 1 Mega, and then Eerie Pulse for 3 Darkness, 200 and Confusion. There, by the way, is already, well, I was going to say in standard. It's technically not in standard yet, but there's a Malamar that has synergy with Confusion. There's some like Darkness stuff there, but it's not that good. And then Psychic Marionettes for 2 Psychic, you do 70 for each of your opponent's Pokemon on their bench. So this can do, if they got a full bench of 5, you're swinging for 350, which is good. If you're looking at 4, it's 280. 3, it's
yeah,
210. And presumably, I mean, you kind of use like accompanying flute. If you're playing this deck, I don't think you're playing Sableye. I do think you're playing accompanying flute, right?
yeah. I mean, I guess that's why they're in this set together, right? But yeah, you're not doing that. So, look, I think the Psychic Marion, the second attack's not very good. 3 energies, not of all one type. They're all Darkness energy, all the attack costs. So it is very awkward to power up. So, and 200 and Confusion is okay, but it's not. You're going to relying on some coin flips there, so I don't like that. And they can retreat with Confusion too, so that lessens that as well. But the first attack, obviously, you can get 2 energies powered up in one turn. That's good. Stage 1s aren't too hard to get in play. HP solid. And most of the time, you want to usually have 4 Pokemon on your bench is pretty common, right? So, 280 for 2 energies, not bad, right? I would say
Mhm.
it's not
Yeah.
great because you're giving up 3 prizes, but it's kind of in that not bad category.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. That being said, like, I don't know, you said it's like not that hard to power up, but what are you looking at? Like Toxtricity probably is how you power this up, I
Well,
think. You
I
could just
guess.
manually
I mean,
attach, I guess. I don't know.
the other option you have, which you yell at me, I'm going to say it anyway, is Crispin. You just need to have
No,
a second
no, don't
type
do
of energy in the
that.
deck. It's reliable though. It really is,
Or you
right?
can leave Psychic Energies from Monkey Dory, yeah.
It's awkward. Again, the fact that they're the same type, it makes it awkward. I get that. Trying to think of this as a Mega Malamar EX deck because that's kind of how I'm trying to evaluate it here because I think that's what you're going to do with it. Um, you got to be able to get it powered up. If you can do that, it's okay, and you're forcing your opponent to have small bench size. If they do that, then you probably have time to get the third energy on, and then you can do some damage that way.
I guess. I mean, if you force them to have a small bench, I feel like force your opponent to have a small bench just isn't that powerful though. Like most decks are completely fine with a small bench. Not in an amazing spot, but like it's okay if you're kind of stop your opponent from doing anything. Honestly, most decks can probably I don't know, you're probably looking at like 3 bench Pokemon. But I feel like if you're up against this, you can reduce your bench to 2 and just kind of chill and you're
Yeah.
probably fine maybe. I don't know. I mean, I don't think this deck's like as a deck it's terrible. Where do you want to put it on the tier list?
I mean, here's where it's good. It's good in an older world where you're playing Dark Box with Dark Patch, right?
I guess, but it's not like that good still. I mean, it's not that tanky. I mean, it's like kind of tanky, but for a three prize stage one, it's not that tanky. And then it also has like grass
It,
weakness, which isn't the best. So it like can get knocked out easily ish.
I,
And then it's a three
I,
prizer.
yeah, I'm thinking it might be top of D tier. I don't think it's certainly worse than Galissapod, and it's probably doesn't, but it's better than Wishy Washy. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. I could honestly even see it in C tier. Probably not. I don't know. I feel like Legendary Summit you think is too high, which maybe I don't know. I feel like there's some potential there. I don't know if it'll get
Okay.
close to that though.
So we're gonna put it top of D tier or bottom of C tier. I'm fine
Yeah,
with either of those.
top of D
Top
tier
of
I think is probably most realistic.
Okay. And maybe it's the end. If you can get it powered up reliably, it would be a lot better. And if some card that comes out that lets you do that, you're in a much better position.
Yeah, I guess. Then we got Mega Rayquaza EX, the big Pokemon here. Storm Emeralda, the
Yep.
attack, of course, the name of the set in Japan, and is a colorless Pokemon. It is representative of the flying type, so lightning, weakness, and fighting resistance. 2 retreat cost, 280 HP, basic Mega, which is pretty normal, and then Storm Emeralda, which does for fire, lightning, colorless because it's dragon in the video games, not dragon in the TCG here though. It does 50 times the amount of fire and lightning energy attached to all your Pokemon in play. So then you have this ability as well, Champion's Roar. When you place Pokemon from your hand onto your bench, you can use this ability. You look at the top 4 cards of your deck and attach a basic energy you find there to this Pokemon, then shuffle the rest back. So accelerate a basic energy there if you're somewhat lucky, but you can just say it accelerates the energy there, I guess, if you want to be nice. And I think this card is not good.
Well, it's not, and we do have a new item card that goes with this. We'll get to that.
Kind of, kind
It
of.
does well. And it's got its own tool card too, which
Yeah.
well, the tool card, but well, we'll save the tool card, but we need to speed this up because the tool card's actually kind of interesting. Look, I think the HP is too low. I don't love that. But the ability, if I'm playing a Mega Rayquaza deck, I've got to get, I've got to play like 3 Mega Rayquazas. You can attack with it turn one going second potentially, right? And if I get 3 Mega Rayquazas in play,
I
and I
guess.
Crispin,
Yeah.
and I switch and I have to switch in the active because it's on play. All of a sudden, boom, I'm popping off. But you got to get lucky to do that, right? So here's my thought with it. I think, what about putting this in Raging Bolt? Because I need energies in play, and now Raging Bolt can I get this so I can hit for big damage on turn one? Because it doesn't even have to be an energy that's Pokemon can attack with, right? It's just a basic energy.
Yeah, but well, one, it's an extra type Reggie, but two, like just do it with Raging Bolt. Like, just attack with Raging Bolt.
No,
And this.
no. Listen to me. No, I'm attacking with Raging Bolt.
Oh,
I'm not
oh, you're
attacking
using
Mega. I'm
this as
just using
energy
this to get
acceleration.
energies in play.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I see what you're looking at, I guess, but it's this like liability kind of. It's not a huge liability, I suppose. Um, it's just not that good. I mean, accelerating one energy, I don't think is really worth it there. I mean, you're looking at like obviously 2 Ogre Pontiacs, which is going to be a bit better
Right.
there, and if you got all of those out, or like you just draw into this before you get the Ogerpon. I mean, it's not like the worst thing ever, I guess, but it's not that good. It's just a
Okay.
one-time energy acceleration bonus. I guess with if you like use Air Zero Underdepths and then like Gym Power theoretically, you could reuse it, but I don't know. It feels pretty not very good.
Okay. I mean, honestly, I think that's probably as good as playing it as its own deck, though.
Yeah. Oh wait, no. This is how we're gonna get the energy on the Wishy Washy using Dugong and Mega Rayquaza. Yeah.
There we go. Now we're moving get the energies in play and moving them over. So, but the fact that it's any type of energy does open up the possibility you can use the power to get energies of other types into play, right? Which
Yeah.
which is interesting.
Yeah, I think maybe this
Uh,
as the lightning attacker and electric box as well, or the like not lightning attacker, could be something maybe. I mean, it's probably about as good as Mega Zero or a EX, which I mean, there are a lot of these like kind of overcommittal big basic Mega EXs, which just aren't all that good. Um, yeah.
All right, so look, it's not an F tier. It's not. It's at best a C tier. It's right. It's a C or D tier card. I think that's where it's going to fall to. Correct?
Yeah, I'd say maybe CT. No, I'd say probably top of D tier.
Okay, top of D tier might be like where every card, where like most of this deck and most of these cards end up.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
sensing.
that's what's happening. But I know I like some of these other cards coming up here. My favorite card so far revealed is the next card, Talonflame EX, which is a Pokemon with an ability that says if you have a colorless Mega Evolution in play, then you can use this ability to put a Pokemon onto or this Pokemon onto your bench, and it is a free retreater with 2 HP, of course, normally stage 2. Then Lightning, Weakness, Fighting Resistance, 2 colorless. It does 150, and then searches for any 2 cards and puts them into your deck there. I think this card's decent.
All right, good. Because we were talking before this. I'm glad you said that. And I said this reminded me. One of the cards reminds me of a card we liked, and this is the card that of the new card.
Is it
It reminds me
Togekiss?
of. It's Togekiss VMAX,
Yeah.
baby. We both love that card, right? You were
Did I
really
like
hyped
it?
on
I
it.
don't know. I think oh yeah, I said it was gonna be really good with
Yes.
Sharon's Care, but I didn't play it.
Togekiss VMAX, if you forgot about it, and if you did forget about it, we can't blame you because it just wasn't. It fizzled.
Good and expanded. Good and
310,
expanded.
Okay, 310 HP. It does max glide attack to 120 for 2 energies, and you search your deck for up to 2 cards, put them into your hand. So obviously very similar. And you like, and I like Togekiss too, right? So it's a very appealing card. An attack that just doesn't do enough damage, lets you get you 2 cards into hand, and then you hope your hand don't get hand disrupted. And I was always like, hey, it's okay. There was a fair amount of hand disruption at the time, like Marty's and stuff was in the game, which everyone was, which was much better than Judge now, right? Marty's was really good. Also relative to what else was around. It's a slightly better card anyway. And I was like, it's okay because they can't Marnies me every turn, so eventually my cards will stick. And I stuck with it for a amount, and it just didn't work. And you gave up on Togekiss much too fast, but rightfully so. So this is a card that we like, and we're both gonna want it. And also you can get it in play trickily, which you love that too.
Oh,
So this is a card that's just like, this is like clickbait for you. You're gonna want this card to be good, and I gotta say, it's just not going to be as good as you want it to be.
Well, I think that the big difference here is that this Pokemon is more of like a tech option. Like Togekiss VMAX was a deck, and also it is a 3 prize or was a 3 prizer. Talonflame just a 2 prizer, which is definitely better. Is it better? Or would it'd probably be better if it was a 3 prizer with more HP because you're already playing a 3 prizer if you have this in play. But
Right.
anyways, like
So
I mean, tacking this into Mega Kangaskhan because like the megas that are good are mostly colorless, and so
okay.
this is a one of it feels okay in Mega Kangaskhan.
Okay, so I was gonna ask you what you're gonna do with this. You're gonna play it in like your Mega Kangaskhan deck. You're not playing the evolution line. And I can see that. The downside is it's the HP is not that high, but because essentially not a stage 2 because you're playing it down directly. So it's a stage. I don't know what stage it would be, because you can't obviously you have to get your Mega down, but with Mega Kangaskhan you're getting Mega down at the start of the game. So
Stage 1/2 or something.
yeah, it's like stage 1.5 or something.
No, 1/2, not 1.5.
Oh, a 0.5. Yeah, it's between a basic and a stage 1. Yeah. So and obviously it and if you get it down, if you can attack with it like your first turn, it does have free retreat too. I don't know if you said that. And if you can attack with it your first turn, which I think you can do with Mega Kangaskhan, then you're taking a knockout too and setting up your next turn. So potentially that's very good. So it's a fun card. Will it be that good? I don't know. But you're gonna argue that it's like an A tier card? Is that what
I'm gonna say B
with it?
tier. I think it's a B tier card.
Okay.
I think it's better than the Cacnea there or the what's that Pokemon called? Cacturn. Yeah, better than the Cacturn. I legitimately think it will see play. I could see it even being like I'm not gonna put an A tier at this point. As I said, I think it's a one of in a decent though not amazing deck in like a Mega Kangaskhan box style deck, which actually kind of encompasses a few decks, maybe even like Raging Bolt or something. Pretty much Mega Kangaskhan plus Crispin, which is a handful of different decks there. We're using Mega Kangaskhan regularly there. But I mean, when you look at the numbers on Pokemon, it's probably a little short on Tushan, some stuff. But then you look at other Pokemon you're pairing it with, most of them are doing like 200. So 200 plus 150 is going to be knocking that stuff out. Pairing it with Mega Kangaskhan, I mean, Mega Kangaskhan always flip tails for me. So actually, I don't play it that much. And it doesn't always flip tails for me. But I'm saying that because I'm bad. I don't know. But with that, you're going to be two-shotting with those two together, so it's like it's okay.
Yeah.
It slots into the damage relatively fine, despite being a little weak there. And then searching for any two cards is nice. It's not like broken, but it is good. And yeah, it is a pivot. I mean, it's kind of weird being a pivot because you're presumably playing Mega Lot or playing Latias EX, and then it would actually be a bit of an issue if it didn't have free retreat there, and it's not particularly
Yeah.
amazing that it does, but it's certainly nice to have.
Yeah, and look, I know we are probably not playing the pre-evolutions, but the stage one, the Fletchinder does clutch where they can't retreat and does 40 damage, and that's actually a damage number you want with not being able to retreat. So I will give that as a little better design, more useful design card. I mean, there's places to make bad cards that aren't as good as well. So I think, yeah, look, this and the Cacturn are the two best cards. I think Cacturn myself is going to see more play and be the better card, but time will tell on that. I think they serve different purposes, different decks, but they're both useful cards for sure.
Yeah, I think for me the deciding factor, because they said you said they serve different purposes, which is kind of true, but they're mostly like these small tech cards, I'd say. But the deck that
Yes.
is going to be playing Talonflame EX is going to be a bit better than the deck playing Cacturn, I think. I don't think there's a huge difference, but I'm going to say Talonflame over Cacturn a little bit for that reason, I
Okay.
guess.
That's fine. And again, time will tell with which is better between the two, and it may swing different times depending what all's going on in the meta.
Yeah. Then we got the next card here as you're hyping up healing. We got Yami Onigiri. This
Yeah.
card says you heal 30 from your active, then heal 30 more for each other Yami Onigiri card in your discard, which
Yep.
does include itself here. So healing between 30 and 120 from your active.
And don't forget, I'm playing the legendary Trench, so I'm healing 240 every turn now when I put this in my deck. So
Every turn, yes.
well, what? Isn't there an aspect that recovers trainers?
No, I'm not sure. I don't know. They're only. I mean,
I
in
don't know.
expanded there is like I'm sure there theoretically
Alright.
is some way in which you could do that. Like if you use like Dedenne and then your opponent keeps like bossing your Mega Kangaskhan or something. But like, yeah,
Yeah, all right. So look, obviously, I'm overstating it. So, but obviously, this is designed. The stadium and the Yummy Onigiri is designed to go together. This is not the best healing card, though. It's not a. It's better than Potion because it does at least 30, right? It's actually much better than Potion. So, 4 of this is significantly better than the 4 Potion. Although, well, that's not quite true. This only heals your active, right? It
yeah,
doesn't heal the bench. So, they're a little different there. It's like if I'm playing it, like we talked about the Kangaskhan
yeah.
Buffalant healing deck with Jumbo Ice Cream and Super Potion in it. I'm not. I don't think I'm playing this in that deck though, right? Would you agree? Or are you
Maybe.
going to play it? That's the test for because that's really probably the only place that I would consider playing this card right now.
Yeah, or like Crustal as well,
Yeah,
which is like a similar idea there. I don't
that's
know. I
true.
think you might like. I'd play this over Super Potion. I don't know. I haven't really played the deck to be honest. So,
Okay.
but like I don't know. I feel like this card's okay. The issue is it doesn't heal very much early, which
Yeah.
like isn't so good because that's kind of when you're looking to heal. It's certainly not a super good card. I'd say it's probably a tier and a half below Jumbo Ice Cream's kind of my gut. So I'd say it's probably I'd put it in C tier at the bottom, I guess maybe. I don't know.
Okay. That's fine. I mean, Jumbo Ice Cream, you have to have 3 energies, right? So it's working with
Oh
things
yeah,
like
that's true.
Crustal, Mega Kangaskhan that take 3 energies. So that's the
Mhm.
difference with it.
Yeah, and Jumbo Ice Cream's also slow in that regard.
Yes. So this is a little, has certain. In some ways, it's better. You don't need the energies attached to start the healing process. So, and obviously, you could use it with attackers with lower cost attacks. So, this is getting your Talonflame, keeping that in play longer. So, there you go.
Yeah, I guess. You could just like attach another energy as well. I'm kind of surprised no one's played Jumbo Ice Cream with an attacker that's like 2 energy, like Dragapult.
Mm.
You could just like heal 80 from your Dragapult by attaching extra energy. Sure, it's like annoying, but it's not even that bad. Or even Ignition. But anyways, so
Right.
which you might be pairing with the Talonflame. But regardless, yeah, this I could even see it below, or sorry, I mean above Legendary Summit if you want.
That's a good question. No, I don't know. I could do either. They both have significant questions to them, right? And I don't know which way. Whichever you want to do is fine with me.
Okay, yeah, let's put Legendary Summit, I guess, above it then. Then we
Okay.
got your favorite card from the set, though. Adventuring Lantern. Searching for a basic fire and a basic lightning energy on an item. Reveal and put into your hand, then shuffle.
Right, designed to go with Mega Rayquaza, which I said, but only sort of because Mega Rayquaza accelerates energies from the deck. So, and if you're using Crispin, yes, you need one energy in hand,
Well, no,
but
but
you
it
don't
gets the
need.
energy in hand.
No, I know.
Oh,
Well, it doesn't help that much with the Crispin either. So,
well, it
if
doesn't
at
help with
all.
Crispin.
Yeah, that's true. So, look, if you're playing, we don't have Earthen Vessel to get two of any energies now. So we have just Energy Search, which gets you one. So if you have a fire deck or a lightning deck, this is equal to Energy Search. It's only better if you have both fire and lightning in the deck. Obviously, back if a deck like Goldengo comes back, then it has some value there. I guess you could say for Alakazam, you just need more cards in hand. It gets you two cards, but I don't imagine you're playing it in that deck to pull this off. So it's not a very good card, it's fair to say, unless there's some grass and lightning deck that really needs
Fire.
it, which I don't know think there is right now. I mean fire and lightning, sorry.
Yeah, I think the only thing I can think of is going to be Sacrilege. Oh, you could pair this with
Yeah,
Dragapult Iron Thorns, I guess, technically. I mean, that's not very
well, that's
good.
true.
The deck's not that good. The use case of this
Yeah,
card isn't even that good either. But yeah, I think like the best use case is Sacrilege, where you are playing
yeah.
fire. You could put lightning in if you wanted to, I guess. But it's pretty awkward because you really want to be running fighting, and adding a third type's pretty rough. So I'd say this card is unfortunately pretty bad. It's got to be D tier, right?
Yeah, I mean it's not F tier because there's a place, there's some place where it could go, right? So I don't know where to put it in FD tier. I don't want to spend too much time on it. So, right? I
Yeah, let's
mean,
just
is
do
it
the
better to
bottom, maybe above Sableye.
let's put it above Sableye, right? Yeah, we'll put it above Sableye. So, um, yeah, this it's not going to see much play if any though. Adventuring Lantern.
Yeah, then we got the next card here, which is MC's height. Or so, sorry, no, the next card here, which is Custom Vest, which is a
Yes.
tool that says the Pokemon this card is attached to, excluding any Mega, takes 60 less damage um, from attacks on your opponent's Mega. So yeah, I'd say this card's not very good. It's not like the worst card around, but it's not great.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you have something that's looking to tank and heal like Mega Kangaskhan, but since that's got Mega in the name there, it's not going to be so useful. You're big on the Talonflame EX on the Mega Kangaskhan deck, so you can put this on your Talonflame.
Mhm.
And you do have the healing, and if you're playing the Bouffalant now, you're taking
No, no,
120 less.
Buffon wouldn't work with the
Oh, because it's
Talonflame.
only basics,
Yeah, it's
right?
only basics.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, you're right. I was
It
just
works on the
thinking colors,
Buffon
but
though.
it does. So you're taking 60 less. So it makes up for the fact that the Boufflant doesn't work on the Talonflame. That's like about the best case scenario I can think of off the top of my head. But
I mean, it doesn't
no, it's
have to go with
not.
stuff from this set. It can go with like
Well,
anything.
Crustal. No,
Yeah.
Crustal.
Oh
No,
yeah.
Crustal's immune, so that doesn't work either.
Yeah. No, it could go with like we could put this on like your Dragapult or something.
Oh, that's true. That actually, yeah, actually, Dragapult is a good idea if there's megas that are one-shotting Dragapult, which exist right now. All of a sudden, that's not happening. So that is a big swing there.
Yeah. So like I could see this as a one of pull against like for like Mega Lucario or something. Ultimately, I think the use cases of this card aren't super good. I mean they're not terrible, but they're just a little niche. I'd say this card's I could see it as high as the bottom of C tier,
Okay. I mean,
even
this
higher.
card will see. I mean, this card will see play in some competitive decks, right? I
Uh,
just imagine.
yeah, I could
I
see
don't
it
know.
even below Mega Glycopod.
Okay. I mean, I don't know it's going to see a lot of play in competitive decks, but in some people will put it in some competitive decks, right? Because it gives a little flexibility in certain cases. So yeah, let's put it second in C tier. I think that's fair.
Yeah. Then we got the coolest card from the set, the weirdest card from the set, Mega Rayquaza Cap. It's weird
Yes.
because it doesn't like refer to Mega Rayquaza. So I mean it refers to Mega Rayquaza Cap, which Mega Rayquaza is in that. But anyway, so it's a tool here.
Yeah.
It says the Pokemon this card is attached to can use the attack on this card. And the attack is Delta Gift for one colorless. For each Pokemon in play that has a Mega Rayquaza cap attached to it, which does include itself. You search your deck for a basic energy attached to that Pokemon, then shuffle. This is not a TM, so one, you can't search it with TM Machine, and two, it doesn't fall off at the end of the turn, which is kind of cool as well.
Yeah, the problem is you need to get multiples in play. Like if you wanted to play a Mega Rayquaza deck or something, or even a lot of other decks, if you could get like 3 of these in hand on turn 1, and then all of a sudden you accelerate 3 energies on your attack, I think you're not a big fan of energy acceleration attacks, but if you can get 3 energies accelerated, that's not a bad option.
Yeah.
But
like with
we don't have we don't have the stadium though. What town
store?
Yeah. To get a second stadium, I mean a second tool, and like even if you get 2 tools, it's still not great, I would say, right? So I really kind of, like I said, I want to get like 3 of these in play, and that's going to be very tough to do. So the effect of it's potentially good, because the difficulty getting tools into hand, I think it's not all that good.
Yeah, there is a card that searches for all of them, which is Treasure Tracker, everyone's favorite card. I've not played this card. Or I don't know. I played some Rotom, and I might have played this card. I think I cut it. But regardless, Treasure Tracker searches for 5 tools, but it's your ace back there. It's not good. You could like Team Rocket's Petrol Tournament going second into Treasure Tracker to get this relatively consistently, I guess. But ultimately, you're kind of spending your whole turn to do that, including like you're not using some of your supporter for other setup, and you're using your ace spec and stuff. So it's not good. It's funny, I guess. Ultimately, though, I think the better use case, or I don't know if the better use case, but the more realistic use case, we've been talking about Crustle so much, but I think it is Crustle, letting you use Delta Gift here. You just attach it to your Crustle. You can play multiple if you want to, and accelerate to the bench, but I found really big issues accelerating energy in the deck, to be honest, and this feels pretty good at doing it because, I mean, you can attack multiple times, and you're just not really taking damage. I guess turn 1 going second, you're probably not using this because you want to Ascension, but you could use it on like a Kangaskhan or something, and then you could use it later. And like again, you do have energy issues, like legitimately, especially if you're removing energy by healing. So yeah, I mean, I think this card is all right as I was gonna say could be more copies if you want to take advantage of like the multiple copies to accelerate a bunch of energy. But like ultimately, this card is fine, I think.
Yeah, and if you want to get multiple copies, if you get enough value out of it, then Treasure Tracker for your ace spec is a legitimate option, right? Because at this point, Unfair Stamp is really what's getting played a lot, but that's a disruption thing later in the game. Having something that sets you up to do what you need to do early, I think, is better than disruption later. So, or at least is valuable. So, if Mega Rayquaza cap, you want 4 copies of that, and just want to hit that turn 1. Going second, I can see that. It's a weird use case though, right? So it's still not a great card, but I think somewhere on C tier.
Yeah, I'd say C tier. Probably I'd put it above Custom Best. I'd put it at the top of C tier, maybe.
Okay. I mean, I'm not sure how good it'll be, but it's an interesting card. So I'll give it. It raises questions about, okay, how can I build a deck that will take advantage of this, which a lot of these cards don't. So therefore, it moves up because of that.
Yeah, actually, probably below Mega Lysopod. I'm changing my mind, but yeah, pretty decent. Right. Then we got a card which is probably not as good. We got Zinnia's Trust. It's a supporter card that says you switch your active with your bench, and if you do, you move an energy from the previous active to the new active. Kind of fun, I suppose, and it can move special energy as well. Ultimately, switch supporters generally aren't amazing. Energy moving supporters also aren't amazing. Combining the two doesn't really make it super good. It's a little clunky. Generally, I'd say when you're looking to move energy, a lot of the times it's from like a different bench Pokemon to the active. So I just don't think this card is very good. Will it see play? Maybe, but it's not that good, certainly.
Yeah, I mean, it lets you switch. Obviously, you mentioned Badoo earlier, so if you're item locked, you can play this as long as you have access to it. And it lets you, I guess, if you attacked with utilizing the Mega Rayquaza's cap, and then you want to, switch into your Crustle to attack the following turn. For your Mega Kangaskhan, then I guess that's a use case for it. I can see there, and something like that perhaps. But it's going to be, I think, very limited and niche where it actually has value. Most of the time, it's not a helpful card.
Yeah, I think Zinnia's Trust. Oh, I just thought of an idea for Mega Rayquaza cap, which I'll tell you in a moment after this, which is actually pretty funny. But Zinnia's Trust here, yeah, I mean, like I think it's just super niche, allowing you to, like, when you look at Switch supporters, you have like Kieran and you have Aces Tranquility. I haven't played Aces Tranquility. I commented on the about it the other day. I was like, I was asking people if they played it, how it was, and someone was like, yeah, they played it. They replaced their Switch in their deck for Aces Tranquility, and they replaced their Judge for a special red card. They just said, like, Aces Tranquility, they played it some, but they haven't really gotten saved by the healing 80. So, generally these Switch supporters aren't super good. Kieran can be nice in some situations. Obviously, if you play it as a Switch, it's just a Switch, but this does have to move the energy as well. I imagine there are situations where you probably don't want to move the energy. So I'd say this is probably somewhere in D tier again. I could theoretically see it higher if you really want to.
No, it's D tier. I'd say let's put it above Wishy Washy. I'm gonna let's give Mega Rayquaza and Mega Malamar a chance of being something.
That's fair. That's fair. And the thing with the cap, the Mega Rayquaza cap, as I said, so I do think the idea of using it in Crustle is a decent one, because like you saw Team Turbo Energize in that deck some as well. And by the way, this is like kind of like Team Turbo Energize, but a little clunkier. And then Mega Rayquaza cap, you compare it with what's similar to Crustle, your favorite Pokemon, Sylveon, right? That can evolve Turban going second. Wait, when you played it, you played Ascension though, didn't you?
Yeah, I've had the Ascension attack, so yeah.
But anyways, you can evolve turn 1 or going first as well, and then you can attach this, and then you can get another one on the bench. I guess you need it to start in the active. It's kind of weird, and you can't like Air Balloon. But anyways, and you also can't Latias because once you evolve, you don't have for your tree. Regardless, you can do this with Sylveons, and then you can use that to get energies onto a Sylveon, and now it's safe. And then while you power it up, then you can Strange Timepiece it, and then you can re-evolve it into some other evolution that's like one of those like weird Terras. So yeah.
Okay. That's true. Well, look, I mean, even without the Strange Timepiece aspect, which is obviously your fun silliness, because you're always looking for uses for that. It's an
awesome card. I was playing Build and Battle. I like just used so much Strange Timepiece. It was awesome.
All right. And did it work?
I guess. I mean, it wasn't that fun, good. Though. It was okay. It was the Alexander kit, and I cut all the other stuff. So.
Yeah. So. That's an interesting one with the Sylveon. That I can kind of I could see that as a thought, because I could switch my the Eevee and try to make use of that. So an interesting idea. Probably not going to move it up a tier, but it's a fun little idea there.
Yeah. Honestly, I'd say a cool set of cards here. Obviously, we kind of see the way the tier list is looking. Mostly D, and you cool like a little bit. Some less in C, then even less in B, so it's not looking amazing. Yeah. At first I saw this, I was like, wow, this is so cool, some cool mechanic stuff, some like cool cards. Looking at it a bit more, it's not that good. But I'm excited for this set. There's some really, like, they are pushing the boundaries some with the stadiums, and like I'd say the cards are kind of cool.
No, some of the cards are certainly useful and are going to see some play. The stadium with the new mechanic, it's making the game a little more interesting. I think this is a set that's not going to change the meta, but it will add, for people looking for alternative decks, it's going to add some interest to the game, which is a good thing.
Yeah. Ultimately, it's a little unfortunate that it doesn't look like any of the sets this year are going to like really change the meta game much, like at all. You see a handful of good trainers and like support cards. I guess Meowth being the best of them, which is good. I'm lower on it than other people, but it's good. And some of the cards that are fine. Some decks are like okay, but ultimately there are some cool things in the set. I think the first couple of sets of this year were boring. I think Pitch Black and Delta Rain are much more interesting, if not not necessarily better, but more interesting. But anyways, tell us in the comment section on YouTube your thoughts on tier list of the cards in the set. Obviously went a little long as well, but we'll be at some point ranking probably the rest of the cards in this set or something like that, talk about them when they're revealed. But tell us your thoughts on our YouTube channels, Uncommon Fossil and 10 Types, again on YouTube there, and like and subscribe. You can also listen to us however on podcasting platforms if you want, and you can just listen there, though again don't comment because unfortunately we cannot see them because of the weird way that the platforms work. But we hope you all enjoyed, and as always we're excited to see you in the next episode.
Take care.